All right, guys. I had a terrible migraine earlier today. My vision was blurry. I took a 2-hour nap. This is how you sell a piece of content. I have done no research for this slate yet, but we're doing it live. We're going to figure it out together. We're going to run the Sims. We're going to land on the nuts. That's what we do. Let's cram.
I suffer from a debilitating condition known as atropic shockitis.
Peter's one of the greatest depositors I've ever seen.
Trust the process. Let's go. Let's go.
I got auto matched with Levitan. This is bullshit.
If I just go the other way in that 66, I win all the money. All the money.
If I had 150 lineups, I'd win too.
Process over results.
Illuminati make a bitch go crazy. I don't know which one of these my baby. Bust out AP, coach 5 bullets in your head like KD. Bust it, bitch go bust it. And I had 10 pints with me in Russia.
Hey everyone.
Hey, everyone. How are we doing tonight? How are we doing tonight? If you guys tuned into Splash Play earlier today, you saw I was struggling. I had to do. I can't even talk. I should have canceled this show, but I am a slave to consistency. And so we will press on. I was in rough shape. I did the show with sunglasses earlier. I had this migraine. I think my screen time is it's probably out of control. I think I need to get some, blue light glasses. I need to start checking my screen time. I need to take care of myself. But I'm here for the people to do a showdown cram. I mean, that's what we're here to do. Good afternoon, Jake. Good morning. Bus it. How's the headache? It's better. I took a 2-hour nap. I haven't taken a nap in ages, and I feel good. I don't have a headache anymore. Thank you, guys. I know I do need to take care of myself. I've been trying to do too many things. Today was a good reminder of needing to take care of myself. I actually have been pretty good about still going to the gym and exercising, but it's more so just my sleep and my screen time, I think have not been good. But that is not why you guys are here. You guys are here to cram for the slate. It is a free week here at Run the Sim. So if you guys have not signed up, I believe today is the last day for a free week. So hopefully you guys have gotten in there, messed around with the tools. I should also say this is an important plug. DraftKings gave us a $10 rake-free main slate single entry tournament. I put it out in Twitter into the world. Al Smizzle gave a big assist and tagged one of his DK reps that he knows. They came through. They created a Deposit Kingdom league. And going forward, I'm going to make this Discord exclusive. But because we need to make sure this gets filled since it started later in the week, I am sharing the link in the chat. So please get signed up for the Deposit Kingdom league. Like I said, rake free. If you are trying to build your bankroll, if you are trying to look for the best possible contest, this is how you do it. You play Pat Mayo's 3-Max rake-free contest. You play Joe Holka's over on FanDuel. You play the Deposit Kingdom Weekly League for $10. So that link is in the chat. Please sign up for this. There aren't better tournaments. Good luck finding other tournaments with no rake. This is how you get it in good playing DFS. Shout out DraftKings. All right, let's just do this. Let's pull it up. Like I said, I have to be completely honest. I have done basically no research for this slate, which if you want to run away now, I completely understand. But we'll work through it together. We'll talk through it as we always do. I like seeing what these sim results are spitting out. Gives us a good kind of baseline feel for this slate. And then we can start to mess with things. We can start to get funky and play out our wildest fantasies for this game. Of course, our big news tonight is no Chris Carson, who's going to be sitting out. I believe we also have no Gerald Everett, who's sitting out. So we're going to see Will Dissly showing up a decent amount. And these kind of slates are generally really good for if you're playing 20 max stuff or any MME. You're going to see a lot more dead lineups with kind of late news like this, because there are a lot of people who, build their $3 20 max lineup earlier in the day and then aren't updating it. I think in single entry and obviously mid to higher stakes, you're not going to see too much crazy stuff. But for the most part, these slates where there's kind of late breaking news is very beneficial for the grinders here. The Goose says this slate is bonkers and I'm in on the rake free. Of course. Awesome to hear, Goose. I keep getting the same top lineup on RTS for Showdown. I've been surprised how it's coming up with the same with multiple refreshes. Feels too chalky, right? Let's see what's over here. Is this our popular lineup tonight, appearing 48 times? That does seem like a massive number. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett with Russell Wilson playing both Seahawks running backs, Collins and Homer, and then Darrell Henderson coming back. So this, as always, is the baseline assumption for the inputs for this slate. I always like to see what this is spitting out. It looks like a lot of 5-1s here. Here's a 4-2 Seattle. Here's a 5-1. Here's a 5-1. I think what's interesting, too, is seeing a lot of these lineups with 2 Seattle running backs. I mean, it makes sense that the pricing is going to be off on those guys because they're all getting a roll boost without Chris Carson. I still don't think I would want to play 2 of these running backs in the same lineup. Especially sometimes that helps you get unique because the field isn't going to do it. But in this case, because they're going to project as such good points per dollar plays, I don't love it. And you can see here too at some of these ownership levels that it's not going to be super sneaky. This one here at 2% product own is pretty interesting. DJ Dallas and Travis Homer. I guess the math is saying it likes it here. Let's see here. That's right, Justin. Let's fucking go. Thank you, Lunchable. I've been doing the Tuesday first look show for Pat Mayo's channel, but he had me on today to do the overall picks and talk about the slate. And I enjoyed doing that with Pat. So if you guys haven't checked that out, you can do it. Captain Freddie Swain, or we riot? I guess start rioting. I mean, do we see what's in the optimal results? How often is Freddie Swain? He's showing up as the captain in 1.5% of the sims. That's about exactly what his ownership is. So the math says you can play him at a 1.5% clip. John Warner is in on Disley. We are getting back-to-back Disley weeks. We see him. Let me scroll up so you can see it. Will Disley appearing here in 14% of total lineups. Ownership here around 22%. So it does look like he's not necessarily a sneaky play. ETR's ownership is fairly in line with that as well. Can we play it as if the Rams were winning by 10? Yeah, we can check that out in a second. What's the difference between flex own and flex? So flex own and captain own are the ownership projections. Those are the forecasts for how heavily owned these players are going to be. The flex percentage is for how often they are showing in the optimal lineups across the simulation. So 10,000 sims, in 3,780 of those, Alex Collins is appearing. The field is projected to play him in 44% of their lineup. So this was a feature that I was very excited to get added here and to run the sims, because this is the most valuable thing for us, right? Is comparing what the field is going to do versus what the math is saying is most likely. So that's very helpful. And then when we head over here to our custom lineups, the most important thing to me here is looking at this product own. This is the ownership projections across all 6 slots multiplied together to give us this product own percentage. I've mentioned this on the shows. I much prefer this to some ownership because not all ownerships are created equal. Some ownership will tell you the same thing on 2 30% players and a 58% owned player and a 2% owned player. That's obviously 2 different things, and that's reflected in the product own number. That's not reflected in some ownership. Corey, this is my instinct. This is always my instinct to smash DK Metcalf. He's appearing here in almost 20% of the simulated captain spots, which looks really, really good to me here when you're actually looking at captain ownership. He's going to come in under Cooper Kupp. He's going to come in under Stafford. He's going to come in under Russ Wilson. He's probably going to come in under Henderson. So I mean, no one here needs to be sold on the upside of DK Metcalf. I think I'm not quite sure why he's not a more popular captain. We continue to see people want to jam quarterbacks, and then Cooper Kupp is just red hot on fire. And so people are going to play a ton of Cooper Kupp. But man, you're telling me I get a $2,000 discount and less ownership than Cooper Kupp, and DK Metcalf is appearing almost double the time in the captain slot that Cooper Kupp is. I mean, the thing about Cooper Kupp, he's had insane target share. He's averaging like a 34% target share every week. But when his price gets up this high, I mean, he really has to go absolutely insane to be the optimal captain. And he's certainly capable of it with this target share. But I would much rather play one of the Seattle wide receivers here. You see Tyler Lockett coming in even more optimal or appearing in more frequency than Cooper Kupp. And again, you're saving a decent amount of money there. Can you go over some bets you made for tonight? Sure. I did a few. I have been posting some of my bets over on Betsperts. You guys can follow me over there if you'd like. It's a free app to download, social media betting app. I have a link down below. It's free. One of the bets I did was Van Jefferson. Let me zoom in on this. I did Van Jefferson, longest reception, over 20.5 yards. I was reading some good stuff over on Sharp Football Analysis. Basically, Seattle has been very poor against the deep ball this year. They've allowed, or teams have attempted the third most passes over 10 yards against them. And teams are completing those at a 60.9% rate, which is obviously very high. And then Van Jefferson has been targeted at least 10 yards downfield on 61% of his targets, and he's cleared this catch yard number in 3 of 4 games. So that seemed like a pretty nice bet to me. I also, over on Underdog, bet, I don't know if the slip is still up, but I bet over 3.5 yards for, nope, this is not Underdog. This is DraftKings. I bet over 3.5 catches for Van Jefferson, and then I parlayed it with a Russell Wilson under. It was kind of a weird thing because last night on Lulz, we were looking at the Sims, and we bet Russell Wilson over 275.5 passing yards, but then he had a really massive number here, 297.5 total yards. So I ended up kind of trying to middle it. I took the under on 297.5 here on Underdog, and then I took the over on another sports book just because that's a pretty big difference there, over 20 yards difference. So those are a few of the bets I like for tonight. I like the Van Jefferson stuff though. McVay with the Robert Woods squeaky wheel. Yeah, that's interesting. I've definitely seen the stuff about Robert Woods being a little frustrated with his role. Let's see what the math is saying. He's appearing in captain 5.4% of the time. That looks about in line with his ownership. His total own, I'm seeing around, what do we have here? 32%. And he's appearing in the optimals 26.5%. So it doesn't look like he's a bad play. It doesn't look like he's a standout play. It looks like the field is playing him about in line with what the math is saying. So if you want to break ties in favor of your revenge game or squeaky wheel, I think that makes sense. Yeah, this is an interesting thought. If Seattle actually kind of changes their offensive philosophy with Carson out, I'm not sure if they will. I think they love Alex Collins. I think they think of Alex Collins as a 1-for-1 replacement for Chris Carson. Maybe it makes them a little bit more pass happy, but I don't think it'll be because of Chris Carson. I think it will be because they get in a negative game script. You know, if Seattle is scoring well, I think they'll be forced, or sorry, if LA is scoring well, I think they'll be forced to throw more than they have been. We have a fact from John Warner. Fun fact of the day: no Seattle running back has had 20 plus touches in a game since week 15 of 2019. Yeah, that is crazy. And I think we definitely have to expect Homer to get a decent amount of pass work. To me, the big riddle is how much work does DJ Dallas get? Because if it is a 3-way committee with DJ Dallas, then we're in rough shape. We can see here on the inputs the Run the Sims. These are the baseline assumptions. We got like a 50% going to Collins, 20% going to DJ Dallas, and 15% going to Travis Homer. And then you can see Travis Homer here has a bigger market share of receiving than these two guys. I do think I could see Homer's market share of rushing being a little lower. I could see DJ Dallas's market share being a little lower. I don't know. I'm like I said, I always feel uncomfortable adjusting these too much because there's a lot of solid math that goes into these. But my gut is that Alex Collins will be more in the 20% range, and I'd probably pull 50 or 5% away from DJ Dallas and Travis Homer. So maybe we just do that. Maybe we just do that because that's why we run the Sims, because we can bully the inputs. Thoughts on Djax? Let's go check in on Djax, see where he is appearing. Of course, he has that kind of boom bust potential we love. Wow. The math does not like Deshaun Jackson. He is only appearing in these optimal lineups 3.8% of the time, and the field is playing him at a 29% clip. ETR's ownership is a little lower. They have him at 15%. So maybe that's high, but I still think at 3.8% showing up, the math is pretty clear there. Let's go see what the inputs are. I assume Van Jefferson is just getting a much larger thing. So yeah, I mean, we have Cooper Kupp at 30% market share, Woods at 20%, Van Jefferson at 14%, Deshaun Jackson all the way down here at 7%. I guess if you wanted to, you could, flip, Deshaun Jackson and Van Jefferson's market share, and you'd probably get him showing up in a little bit more. Why don't we do that? We'll run this with that. We'll see how much more often if you flip Van Jefferson and Deshaun Jackson. We got to probably flip their touchdown rate here as well. Let's do this. Let's knock ourselves out here. Right after I hyped up Van Jefferson, you guys are making me change this. Let's see if this changes Deshaun Jackson a decent bit. Dun-na-na, dun-na-na. All right. Deshaun Jackson does hop up here to appearing in 18% of lineups if you flip him and Van Jefferson. So that's one of those things where you see here, if you go by median projections, he doesn't project well. If you think he maybe flips Van Jefferson tonight in targets, then all of a sudden you're rostering him at a rate that is at least reflective of what the math is saying. Let's mess around. I think someone wanted Rams by 10. Was that the suggestion? I got to scroll back and see. I can't find that. I think someone wanted, oh, here it is. The losers win again, wanted it. Can we play it as Rams were winning by 10? So yeah, let's do this. So Vegas has it right now as a close game. Let's go like a lower scoring game. We'll go 28-18. We'll bring down the Seattle rush rate just a smidge if they're losing by 10. And we will bring up the Rams rush rate a smidge if they are winning. We can bring up their rush rate TD ratio a bit as well. We can bring down Seattle's rush rate TD ratio a smidge. And then we will leave my assumptions on the Collins, DJ Dallas, Travis Homer, but I'm going to reset the Van Jefferson and Deshaun Jackson ones. Let's run this and see what we look like. Uh-oh. Willis and Corey are back to their head-to-head challenge in the showdown slate. So in this scenario, it is no surprise to see Darrell Henderson absolutely pop. If the Rams are winning by 10, we know that McVay is willing to be very run heavy in those kind of game scripts. So he appears as the captain in this scenario 23% of the time. His ownership is going to come in around 11%. Both the Run the Sims ownership projection and ETR projection are in lockstep around 11 to 12% captain owned. And I bring this up every show, but this is why it's so fun to play with some of these game assumptions, because Darrell Henderson goes to being basically a smash captain if your scenario for this game is the Rams win by 10. And I don't think that's that crazy of an assumption. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, but that's a scenario that's very plausible. So Darrell Henderson, 23% captain in that scenario. You do see Metcalf and Lockett get boosted just a smidge here. DK Metcalf was already appearing a decent amount, but makes sense with Seattle in catch-up mode in that scenario. We also see Rams DST crash the party here, appearing in, let's see, 37.5% of the math. I don't know why our ownership isn't showing up on Rams DST. Let me see what ETR has for the Rams. They have them showing up at 13% of lineups. So in this scenario, where they're in 37.5%, that's a huge disparity. So I do think if you want to play the Rams blowout scenario, correlating Darrell Henderson with the Rams defense makes a ton of sense. All right. Hey, Pete asked Willis who won last week. It sounds like Corey won and they're ready to run it back. Keep us posted. TJ says, with Henderson captain, does Stafford flex make sense? Well, let's look at these lineups here in this scenario where we're going to get a lot of Henderson captain. So right here, we see with appearing 38 times, we have a Henderson with a Stafford. We have a 4-2 here. And this Henderson one appears 21 times. We have a Henderson with Stafford. This one is really interesting. Appears 20 times. It's Henderson captain with a Seahawks onslaught. But to answer your question here, TJ, it looks like we are seeing a lot of Matthew Stafford with these Darrell Henderson lineups. Wow, we have a Colby Parkinson appearance. Check out this product own here on the Colby Parkinson. But you notice here too, what's so fun about this is look at the product own on some of these top lineups. 4.7%, 1.8%, 2.8%, 4.5%, largely because of the Rams D. I actually wonder if that's getting messed up. I think that's probably getting messed up because it's not showing Rams D as having a flex ownership percentage. So those are probably too low. I don't know why Rams D isn't showing up in here. So these product owns are going to be off because of the 0% there. But I do think it's interesting to see how low owned some of these are, even though they're appearing so frequently. And again, this goes back to how important it is of attacking the slate through a slightly different lens than people are through median projections. Parkinson going Parham mode. I like that call. I like it. Let's see. John says, Hendo captain, Jefferson, Kupp, Staff, Woods, Homer. You're just giving it away? Are you going to ask people not to dupe you, John? If you don't beg people not to dupe you, they will dupe you. They will absolutely dupe you here. Any other questions here? I'll look at one or two more things and then I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to let you guys finish building your lineups. We can scroll down here a bit more. A Los Angeles Rams defense captain with Henderson, Stafford, Higbee. You bring it back with both Metcalf and Lockett. That's funky. That's real funky. Here's an interesting one. A Seattle onslaught with Cooper Kupp coming back. This one, Darrell Henderson, this one's kind of similar to the one John just mentioned. Henderson, but you do have Rams, Van Jefferson, Robert Woods, Stafford, DK Metcalf coming back. Paul was on Splash Play earlier. We built a lineup, and he did forget to ask everyone to dupe him. So you're screwed, Paul. We're duped now. Stafford gets them ahead, and Henderson finishes them off. Sounds like a battle. But I think that thought process comes into play. I always think that's hard too, and you sometimes see that with game script assumptions where they're like, oh, well, it's just going to be all through the running game. But often we see the pass game get them there early, and then the run game can come in and crush things. Disley outscores both Lockett and Metcalf tonight. You could probably get some pretty good action on that if you wanted to throw that bet out there. I, my friend, will not be making that bet. Peter, if Hawks are losing, makes more sense to have Homer than Collison, right? I think so. Yeah, I mean, you can look at our inputs here for the market share. we are seeing Travis Homer being utilized more in the passing game than both Alex Collins and DJ Dallas. I don't think Alex Collins will be completely uninvolved in the pass game, but I think Homer will have that role. And I agree with your thesis that he's probably going to be the catch-up back more. Collins, Higbee, or Woods, Homer, both flex plays. Is this a start-sit question or is this a showdown question? I just did start-sit over on the Fantasy Life app. Collins, Higbee, or Woods, Homer, both flex plays. Oh, is this like a 2v2? Okay, well, you're talking showdown 2v2. I got you. Collins, Higbee, or Woods, Homer. Collins, Higbee is going to project better, but is going to be way higher owned. Woods, Homer is probably your large field contest play. Woods, Homer, if you need to get unique, keep people from duping you. All right, guys. Sorry I don't have more energy in me tonight. It was a rough day for me. I am going to go get some more rest, but good luck in the showdown contest tonight. I am going to post the link in here once again for the Draftkings Deposit Kingdom Weekly League. Nice to see a bunch of you hop in there. Looks like about 40 of you hopped in since I last posted, or is my math wrong? 20, 30 of you. Let's get that filled so DraftKings will keep making it bigger. Good luck tonight. If you're Will Dissly over DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett prediction comes true, I will be logging on to Twitter to watch the world burn. All right, guys, I will be back tomorrow at noon to talk about the main slate with TJ Hernandez from 4 for 4. I'm very excited about that show. Doing that Friday strategy show is one of my favorites to do each week. And we'll talk GPP strategy and the week 5 slate. And then I'll be back at 2:30 for Splash Play. We're having John Daigle from NBC Sports Edge, and we'll be doing our ride or die hot take picks. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Good luck tonight. Peace.